What if I told you right now that while you're watching this video, North Korean government hackers are targeting hospitals and nonprofits, including a school for autistic children, with ransomware? Or that the mental health app on your phone might be leaking your most private therapy records to anyone who wants them. And yes, Chinese spies have had their hands inside major U.S. telecom networks for years, and the FBI says that the threat is, quote, still very much ongoing. Welcome to this week's Cybersecurity Threat Rundown. I'm Bryan Longworth, host of A Faster PC Live Technical Support. I'm going to bring you the most important cybersecurity news of the week, broken down in plain English, no tech jargon. And I'm doing this so that you can be aware of these threats and take proactive measures to protect yourself, your computers, and your data. If you're a business owner, a remote worker, or just someone who uses a smartphone or computer, and let's be honest, that's everyone, you need to hear this. Stick with me through the end because the last story we cover might be the one that protects you personally. Let's start with the ransomware economy because this story has both good news and bad news at the same time. According to blockchain's analyst firm, Chain Analysts, the percentage of ransomware victims who actually paid hackers dropped to an all-time low of 28% in 2025, compared to 62% in 2024 and nearly 79% back in 2020. Businesses are getting smarter, employing better backups, better response plans, and law enforcement crackdowns are contributing. So we're winning, right? Not so fast. Here's the bad news. Attacks have surfaced 50% year over year. There are now 85 active ransomware gangs operating globally, more than ever before. And now with AI, they can do so more rapidly and more efficiently with less manpower. And the median ransomware demand jumped 368% from 12,700 in 2024 to nearly 60,000 in 2025. Hackers are hitting fewer targets but squeezing much harder. What does this mean for you? It means ransomware isn't going away. Criminals are adapting, getting smarter, and more targeted. The businesses that are getting hit are often smaller organizations that thought they were flying under the radar. Drop a comment below. Has your business or someone you know ever been hit with a ransomware demand? Let us know. Now, the ransomware story gets a whole lot more alarming when you add nation-state hackers to the mix. This one is deeply unsettling. Cybersecurity firm Symantec confirmed this week that North Korea's notorious Lazarus hacking group, the same state-sponsored team behind billions in cryptocurrency heists, is now running ransomware attacks across U.S. healthcare organizations using a strain called MedUSA ransomware. Their victims have included a mental health nonprofit and a school for children with autism. The average ransomware demand? About $260,000. Why healthcare? Because these organizations are chronically underfunded, can't afford downtime, and are under enormous pressure to restore operations quickly. North Korean hackers have essentially no moral guardrails when it comes to victims. If you run a healthcare practice, a nonprofit, a clinic, or an organization that serves vulnerable people, please hear this, you are a target. A Faster PC specializes in protecting exactly these types of organizations. Don't wait for a $260,000 demand to show up in your inbox. Now for this story that's been building for over a year and still isn't fully resolved. Chinese cyber espionage. This week, Google's threat intelligence group confirmed that a Chinese hacking campaign has been quietly infiltrating telecom companies and government agencies around the world. 53 confirmed organizations in 42 countries with suspected infections in at least 20 more. The campaign has been running since at least 2023. This is tied to the broader Salt Typhoon espionage operation, which the FBI has called one of the worst telecom breaches in U.S. history. AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, all compromised. The hackers reportedly accessed the phone communications of senior U.S. government officials. And as of this month, the FBI says that the threat is still very much ongoing. Here's what makes this personal. If you use a major U.S. carrier, sophisticated surveillance tools may have already accessed those networks for years. The FBI's consistent message: the most common way hackers get in is still the most basic: phishing emails and unpatched systems. The fixes aren't glamorous, but they do work. Let's talk about the devices sitting in your home or your business back room, your router and network gear, because this week had a tidal wave of critical hardware vulnerabilities that every business owner needs to know about. First, Zyxel warned this week of a critical remote code execution flaw over a dozen of their popular routers. If you're using a Zyxel router at your home or in your office and it hasn't been patched, an attacker could take full control of it from anywhere on the internet. No password needed. Second, Juniper Networks disclosed a critical flaw in their routers that allow an unauthenticated attacker to execute code with full root access, essentially handing over the keys to the entire device. Third, Cisco is warning of a critical bug in their Catalyst SD-WAN system that has been actively exploited since 2023. Yes, 2023. Some businesses have had a hole in their network for over 2 years without even knowing about it. And finally, SolarWinds patched critical flaws in their ServeView file transfer software that could allow attackers to gain root access to servers. The pattern here is clear. Network devices are a prime entry point. If your routers and switches aren't being monitored and patched regularly, you could already be compromised. This is exactly the kind of ongoing maintenance that a faster PC handles for businesses up and down Florida's coast. Don't be the business that finds out the hard way you should have used our services. Let's run through a series of data breaches this week that may directly affect you or someone you know. CarGurus, a popular car shopping website, had over 12 million user records leaked by the Shiny Hunters extortion group. Names, email addresses, and personal data were published to the dark web. ManoMano, a major European home improvement retailer, notified nearly 4 million customers of a data breach caused by a compromised third-party vendor. Wynn Resorts confirmed a data breach affecting employees after an extortion threat. Ad tech firm Optimizely was hit by a voice phishing attack when criminals called an employee, impersonated IT support, and talked their way into the company's systems. Medical device company UFP Technologies warned patients that personal data was stolen in a cyber attack. The Shiny Hunters group again claimed a breach of Dutch telecom provider Odido, affecting over 6 million customers. Here's the common thread in all these breaches. Either a third-party vendor was the weak link or a human was tricked. This is why cybersecurity isn't just about software and hardware. It's about training your people to recognize and resist social engineering attacks. A faster PC can help with both. If you've gotten a notice that your data was part of a breach, drop a comment below. You might be surprised to find out how many people have been affected. Here are two stories that hit close to home for small business owners who use Google's tools. First, a new platform called One Campaign is helping cyber criminals run malicious Google ads that evade Google's own detection systems. These ads look legitimate. They might mimic your bank, your accounting software, or even local service businesses, but they redirect users to phishing pages designed to steal login credentials. If you run Google ads for your business, your brand could be spoofed. And if you click on an ad to find a service, you might not be going to where you think you're going. Second, researchers discovered that certain Google API keys, the kind routinely embedded in business websites and applications, can now be used to access private data through Google's Gemini AI system. If your developer ever pasted an AI key into public accessible code, your data could be exposed. The takeaway: review who has access to your Google account. Audit any API keys in use and be suspicious of any ad or pop-up asking you to log in. This next one is for anyone who works in tech or as a family member who does. Researchers have discovered a campaign targeting software developers with fake job interview tests. Hackers are posting fake job listings and sending applicants a technical coding test to complete. When the developer runs the code, it silently installs a backdoor on their computer, giving attackers persistent access to their machine and everything on it. If you're a developer applying for a job, or if you hire developers who might run code samples from unknown sources, this is a real threat. Never run code from a job application without having it reviewed by a trusted colleague or security professional first. Two stories this week that should make you think twice about the apps on your phone. First, researchers analyzed 10 popular Android mental health apps with a combined 14.7 million downloads and found over 1,500 security vulnerabilities, including dozens of high-severity flaws. One popular therapy app exposed users' session tokens and therapy records to any other app on the same device. Another stored sensitive data in plain text. On the dark web, mental health records sell for over $1,000 each, far more than stolen credit card numbers. The apps haven't been publicly named yet, so if you use a mental health app on Android, keep an eye on updates and be cautious about what personal information you enter. Second, advanced commercial spyware called Predator has been found to hook directly into the core of the iPhone operating system to hide microphone and camera activity from users. This high-level spyware is typically used against journalists and executives, but it's a reminder that no device is safe without proper security hygiene. Let's end with some wins, because yes, the good guys are fighting back. The U.S. government sanctioned a Russian-backed broker who was caught buying and selling stolen zero-day exploits. Undisclosed software vulnerabilities worth millions on the black market. A former executive at defense contractor L3 Harris was sentenced to federal prison for selling 0 days to that same Russian broker. Police across multiple countries executed a major crackdown on the cybercrime gang, a loosely organized group of young hackers responsible for some of the biggest breaches in recent years, resulting in 30 arrests. Spain arrested suspected hacktivist linked to Anonymous Phoenix for launching denial of service attacks against government websites. And a Ukrainian man pled guilty to running an AI-powered fake ID site that generated fraudulent passports and driver's licenses. These arrests matter, but they also remind us that law enforcement is always playing catch-up. Prevention is still the best protection. So what does this mean for you? It means cyber threats are more frequent, more targeted, and more sophisticated than ever. Whether you're a business owner on the Treasure Coast, Space Coast, or South Florida, a remote worker, or just someone who uses a smartphone or computer, you are a target. Not because of who you are, but because of what you have, your data, your access, and your money. The good news, most of these attacks succeed because of the basics: unpatched systems, weak passwords, no MFA, and untrained employees. Fix the basics and you are dramatically safer. That's exactly what a faster PC does every single day for businesses and families like yours across Florida's Treasure Coast, Space Coast, and South Florida. We handle the monitoring, the patching, the training, and the response, so you don't have to become an IT expert to stay safe. Give us a call at 772-878-5978. Again, 772-878-5978. Or visit our website, afasterpc.com. From our website, you can actually schedule a free discovery call with me where we can sit down and talk about you, your systems, and how we can protect your computers from infections. We also have a free cybersecurity report you can download. If you found this video helpful, please click the like button, click subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when we release new videos. And drop a comment below. Which story surprised you the most this week? I read every single comment and reply to each of them. Remember, when you have or want to prevent cybersecurity problems, you need a faster PC.